Mathematicians, today we get to compare fractions, and there's multiple different ways you can do that, which is super cool because it gives you a chance to really think and stretch your brain. So we're going to talk about comparing fractions using benchmark fractions or by finding a common denominator. So quickly remember that benchmark fractions are those easy fractions to get a picture in your brain, and the one that I like to use the most when I'm comparing fractions is half, because it's pretty easy to know that half of your denominator makes a fraction equivalent to half. So half of my denominator makes a fraction that's equivalent to half. Let's go like that. 4/8 equivalent to half. So if I wanted to look at the fraction 9/12, I can think, using twelfths, what would it be equivalent to half? So 6/12 is half. It is 2 divided by 12, 6/12. Okay, so I can compare now that my denominators are the same. It's easy peasy to compare. I can see that 6/12 is not equal to 9/12. It is smaller than 9/12. So that makes it easy to compare. And I could do most of that in my head because I can think in my head that 6/12 is half. Okay, so if I gave you another fraction, let's say 3/9, is that greater than or less than or equivalent to 1/2? Pause your video. All right, this one was a little trickier because half of 9 is 4.5. It's not an E, and you can't go 4.5 ninths. That's not really a fraction. It's a fraction over a fraction. That's kind of crazy. But if you have that in your mind, you know that 4/9 is a little bit smaller than half, and 5/9 is a little bit greater than half. And so what would 3/9 be? 3/9, oops, my pen went a little wonky, is less than half. Okay, so now I'm going to give you a few problems, and I want you to see if you can compare the two of them. So I'm going to give you 8/10 and 4/5. Now there's a couple of different ways you could do this one. To me, I can see that 5/10 is half. Is 1/2. And so I know that 8/10 is greater than half. And I know that half of 5 is 2.5. So 2 is a little bit smaller than half, and 3/5 is a little bit greater than half. So 4/5 is greater than half. Using that strategy didn't really help me, but I can also fairly quickly see that if I multiply 5 times 2, I can get an equivalent fraction. And look at this. 8/10. 4/5 is equivalent to 8/10. Okay, here's one for you to try. And right in that green circle, you're going to be thinking to yourself, what's my answer going to be? Pause your video. Okay, this one was difficult to use the benchmark fraction with. Not really, actually. This one's easy to use the benchmark fraction with. 2/3, I can picture in my head, and I know 2/3 is bigger than half because it's 2 out of 3 pieces. That means it is really fairly close to a whole thing. And 3/9, I know that 4.5 is half of 9, and 3 is less than 4.5. So I know that 3/9 is going to be less than half. So this one's greater than half, and this one's less than half. So it was pretty easy for me to think of it that way. The other way you might have thought of it is you might have seen, I can pretty quickly see that 3 times 3 is 9. So I can get get common denominators pretty easily. So if I have 2/3 and I multiply it by 3/3, I will get 6/9. Hey, look at that. 6/9 and 3/9 are easy to compare because they're cut into the same number of pieces. They both have ninths. So I can see that that is greater. All right, my friends, you have any questions or struggling through this? That's okay. Give yourself time to struggle. Give yourself time to think it through and have confidence in your abilities that you have gained up until now to help you understand how to do this. You can watch it again. And then if you still are feeling stuck, well, I don't mind so much because I love talking with you. So come see me at 2.